Hey there, trainer! Do you want to be the very best like no one ever was, but you keep getting rocked by raid Pokemon like you're some kind of champion that still lives with his mom? Then I have just the thing for you. Hey everyone, Brownie here, and today I'm going to show you all how to build your Pokemon to be the best that they can be. So first off, I'm going to talk about EVs. Oh, look how cute the little bundle of fur is. But also, effort values. Every Pokemon can gain a total of 510 EVs. And whenever you gain EVs, they're tied to one of the 6 stats, like HP or attack. Each of these stats can gain a total of 252 EVs. So, by focusing on the 2 stats that you care the most about, you can gain 252 EVs in each and still have 6 points left over for a 3rd stat of your choosing. And all of this is important because every 4 EVs that you gain in a single stat raises that stat by 1 point. And in the very end, that adds up to a massive plus 63 for whatever 2 stats you chose. So now the question is, well, how do I get EVs? There are 2 methods. The fast but expensive way is to use vitamins. To find these, you can go to any of the Chansey supply in the game and buy the vitamins there. I personally use the one in Montenevera. Once you're in the shop menu, you'll see near the top the 6 items HP up, protein, iron, calcium, zinc, and carbos. These are the vitamins that raise your Pokemon's EVs. Each vitamin raises a specific stat's EVs by 10. So to hit the 252 cap in the 2 stats you want, you'll need to buy 26 of the 2 vitamins you care about. And at 10,000 apiece, that's going to cost you a grand total of 520,000. There is another method, though, that's much cheaper, but also more time-consuming. And that's going to be battling wild Pokemon. One thing to note before you go out and start hunting down wild packs of Pokemon. Don't send out your little buddy to do all the work for you. Do walk into Pokemon and battle them like normal. Your Pokemon don't gain EVs if they defeat other Pokemon by auto-battling. You're gonna have to fight them the old-fashioned way. Also, the entire team gains EVs when you defeat a Pokemon. So make sure to only have the Pokemon in your party that you want to gain that specific EV. You gain EVs whenever you defeat a Pokemon. The amount of EVs will vary depending on the Pokemon you defeat. Weaker Pokemon will typically give you 1 EV, while fully evolved Pokemon will usually give 2 or 3. So in order to fully train your EVs, you're going to have to fight a lot of Pokemon. The good news, though, is there are held items you can give to your Pokemon to speed this up by a lot. You can find these held items by going to any of the Delibird present stores around the game. I personally like using the one in West Mesagoza. Once you get to the shop, open up the General Goods menu and scroll all the way to the bottom. You'll see 6 held items that all start with the word power. If you look at the item description, they all say Holding this item reduces a Pokemon's speed in battle, but allows one of the 6 stats to grow more quickly. What this means is when you have one of these items equipped on a Pokemon, they will move slower in battle, but they will gain an additional 8 EVs towards whichever stat is tied to that item. And because every Pokemon in the party gains EVs when you defeat a Pokemon, if you wanted to, you could buy 6 Power Weights, for example, equip them on your entire team, and quickly gain EVs for HP for all of them. So now that you know which EVs you want to train, and you have the held item to help speed things up, where should you go and which Pokemon should you be fighting? I've made everything super simple, and every Pokemon I'm about to show you can easily be found near the Poke Path Lighthouse. For all these Pokemon, you will have to defeat them 28 times to fully EV train their specific stat. Starting with the HP, you're going to first want to equip the Power Weight, set up a picnic, and make a sandwich that boosts normal type encounters. For the sandwich, I use number 34, the Ultra Curry and Rice style sandwich. The Pokemon you want to look for are Lechonk and Azurill. I also have another Pokemon that I'll mention in the next section if you want to level up while you EV train HP. For Lechonk, you'll want to leave the lighthouse and head southwest along Poke Path. Lechonk can appear throughout the entire area. If fighting baby Pokemon's more your style, you know who you are. You can find Azurill by leaving the lighthouse and following the path north into South Province Area 1. Once you see the bridge, turn right and follow the water towards the ocean. Azurill can be found all along the water here before reaching the beach. For attack EVs, you'll want to equip a Power Bracer, set up a picnic, and make yourself a sandwich that boosts normal encounters. I use number 34, the Ultra Curry and Rice style sandwich. The Pokemon you're looking for is Yungoos, which can be found in the Inlet Grotto. You can get to the grotto by leaving the lighthouse and heading southwest toward the cliff. Run up to the edge and yeet yourself right off the cliff and land on the beach below. The entrance to the grotto will be on your right. Yungoos can be found all throughout the grotto. Simply start at the bottom and work your way through the grotto. Once you get to the top, just fall off the side back to the bottom and repeat. For special attack EVs, I have 2 Pokemon for you. Good news, no sandwich needed for this one. Just equip a Power Lens and you're good to go. First Pokemon is Houndour. You can easily find them in the Inlet Grotto. To get there, simply head southwest from the lighthouse towards the cliff. Do your best flightless bird impression and jump off the cliff towards the beach. The entrance to the grotto will be on your right. Houndour can be found all throughout the grotto. A lot of the time, you will find them in packs. And Houndour likes to sit around and watch you beat up their friends, so you can easily defeat the entire group. Make your way through the grotto and simply fall off the side when you get to the top. The second Pokemon is Ghastly. You can find them by heading north from the lighthouse into South Province Area 1. Cross the water and head east. Continue following the cliff and you'll come to an open area and eventually some ruins. Here's where Ghastly can be found. Ghastly will appear in and around the ruins, and a lot of the time you'll find them in groups. for defense EVs, I have 2 Pokemon. And thankfully they both appear in the same area, so we can hunt them at the same time. To start off, you'll want to equip a power belt, set up a picnic, and make a sandwich that boosts bug encounters. I use number 54, the Ultra Potato Salad Sandwich. The Pokemon you are looking for are Scatterbug and Tarantula, both of which can be found on Poco Path. Simply head southwest from the lighthouse, and you will find both the Pokemon all around the area. Scatterbug can be a little hard to see, but they're all over the place. Tarantula can be found all throughout the path, and even hanging from the trees. Next up is Special Defense EVs. For this, you'll want to equip a power band, set up a picnic, and make a sandwich that boosts flying encounter. I use number 61, the Great Egg Sandwich. The Pokemon you're looking for is Hoppip. You can find them on Poco Path and all around South Province Area 1. Head southwest from the lighthouse to find them on Poco Path, or north if you want to check South Province Area 1. You can find them in groups, or they can just casually be floating in the air. Just watch out for stormy weather. Hoppip doesn't do well in high winds, and will easily just be blown away. For speed EVs, you want to equip a power anklet, set up a picnic, and make a sandwich that boosts flying encounter. I use number 61, the Great Egg Sandwich. Fletchling is the Pokemon you want to keep your eye out for this time. They can be found to the southwest on Poco Path, or to the north all over South Province Area 1. Fletchlings are everywhere. You'll be able to find them in groups all over both areas. They can be a little hard to see because of how small Fletchling is, but since they're all over the place, you should be able to find them easy enough. That's everything for effort values. Now, I want to talk about levels and the best ways to gain experience. First, I want to touch on how raids work when it comes to levels of the Pokemon you're fighting. For 5-star raids, you're going to be fighting level 75 Pokemon. For 6-star raids, they're going to be level 90 Pokemon, and 7-star raids are going to be level 100 Pokemon. On top of this, raid Pokemon get an HP multiplier, so 5-star Pokemon get 20 times the normal HP that they would have, 6 stars get 25 times, and 7-star Pokemon have 30 times their normal HP value. So you really want to make sure your Pokemon are leveled up high enough, because you wouldn't normally fight a level 100 Pokemon with a level 50, you're just not going to do very well. So when it comes to leveling up your Pokemon, you really only have 2 good methods. The first one is going to be either using rare candies or the different size experience candies. Your main way of getting these are gonna be from doing raids, but you can also find them throughout the game by just playing. The second, but more time-consuming way of gaining experience is by fighting wild Pokemon that give lots of XP for defeating them. Did anyone else hear that laughing? Nah, oh well. Anyway. The best Pokemon to farm for XP on is Chansey. To farm Chansey, first head to North Province Area 3. Once you're there, set up a picnic and make a sandwich that boosts normal encounter. I use number 34, the Ultra Curry and Rice Style Sandwich. After that, you'll want to equip the Pokemon that you're trying to level up with the Lucky Egg. This will boost the amount of XP that you gain by 50%. Then simply head north to find the path where the Chansey farm is. If you want to work on HP EVs while you level up your Pokemon, instead equip them with a Power Weight. Every Chansey you defeat here with the Power Weight equipped will give you 10 EVs towards HP. So once you've defeated 26, you can take off the Power Weight and put the Lucky Egg back on. One thing to note is you want to make sure you're running into Chanseys and battling them yourself. If you send out your Pokemon to auto battle for you, you'll still get experience, just nowhere as much. While you're doing this, you do have a slight chance of Blissey appearing. Treat this like a nice little bonus because Blissey will give you more experience than Chansey. You're just not going to see them very often. So that about covers Pokemon experience and leveling. So now we're going to move on to natures. So first off, why are natures important? If you've ever looked at one of your Pokemon's stats and you've wondered, what are these blue and red arrows? That has to do with your Pokemon's nature. Every Pokemon in the game that you capture has a nature tied to it. You're able to see this by clicking on a Pokemon and going to check summary, and then going to the third page that says memories, and you'll see the nature of the Pokemon highlighted in blue near the top. Every nature in the game does two things. They'll raise one stat by 15% while lowering another stat by 15%. But note that your HP isn't affected by nature, so it'll never be raised or lowered. So if you look in your stats page and you see there's a red arrow next to one and a blue arrow next to another, the red arrow is raising that stat 15%, and the blue arrow is lowering that stat by 15%. If you don't see a red or a blue arrow, that just means that the same stat that got raised also got lowered. So there was just no change. This is important because you can take a stat, for instance, like attack on my Gallade, which I want to have raised, and then special attack, which I want to have lowered, and get more of what I want out of my Pokemon stats. So now what happens if you have a Pokemon that you want to use, but its nature is affecting the stats in a way that you don't want them to? Well, there's an easy fix for that. Go to any of the Chansey supply stores in the game. I'm personally using the one in Montenevera. Open up the menu and scroll all the way to the bottom. You'll see that there are a lot of mints that are all color-coded. These items are how you change your Pokemon's natures. There are a lot of different mints here, but for the sake of raids, we really only care about 2 of them. If you're using a physical attacking Pokemon, you care about the Adamant Mint. This will make it so your attack gets that 15% boost, while your special attack gets lowered 15%. And for special attacking Pokemon, you want to use a Modest Mint. This raises your special attack by 15%, while lowering your attack by 15%. There are other mints that are useful depending on the Pokemon that you're using, but for the sake of raids, these are the 2 mints that you will use most often. That's everything on natures, and now we're going to move on to individual values. Individual values, or IVs, are numbers that are tied to each stat on every Pokemon. This number represents a Pokemon's natural ability with each stat, and this number is set either when you catch a Pokemon or you breed a Pokemon. A Pokemon's IVs will range from 0 to 31, with 0 being the worst and 31 being the best. You can check this by using the Judge feature in the Pokemon box. You get the Judge feature by going to any of the Pokemon Centers after you've collected all 8 badges and defeated the Elite Four. Simply open up the box and look at one of your Pokemon. You can cycle through the menus by hitting the plus button on your controller. And once you get to the Judge feature screen, you will see that every stat has a rating next to it. And at the bottom, you'll have an overall rating for the total IVs of your Pokemon. For the sake of raids, we want 5 of those 6 stats to be at their best. And the reason why it's 5 is because physical attacking Pokemon don't care about special attack, and special attacking Pokemon don't care about physical attack. There are 2 things that you can do to affect a Pokemon's IV stat so that you can get a Pokemon with the IVs that you want on them. The first method is going to be through using Hyper Training. To do this, you need to go to Montanevera, and you'll see near the Pokemon Center that there's a person standing next to an Abomasnow. Here, you can use an item called Bottle Caps to hyper-train the different IVs on your Pokemon. You can get these Bottle Caps through raiding, but you can also buy them at any of the Delibird present stores in the general goods section. It'll be right at the top of the menu. What hyper training does is it effectively takes whatever IV your Pokemon has in a stat and makes it best. You can see this by going into the Judge feature on your Pokemon, and you'll see that it'll have hyper trained next to any stat that you've had hyper trained at this person. So for the weird cost of a couple bottle caps, this person will turn your cute little Pokemon into the peak performance battle dominating machine that they always knew they could be. The second method for getting perfect IVs on your Pokemon is through breeding. I'm not going to get into that in this video because it is a very, very long process, but I did want to at least mention it in this section. The final thing that I want to talk about that'll really help you get the most out of your Pokemon are held items. There are a lot of different items you can equip on your Pokemon between all the different berries and held items in the game. And what your Pokemon holds can really have a huge impact on how well they will perform in raids. When looking at raids, you want to really focus on items that will help your Pokemon survive longer, not just do more damage. So for this, I'm going to show you 3 held items that can do just that. First off, I want to talk about leftovers. You can find this item in Cascarafa by going to the Delibird present store and selecting battle items. What leftovers does is at the end of every turn, you'll recover a small amount of HP. This is especially nice in the beginning of raids when you're using your early turns to either buff your Pokemon or debuff the raid boss. Leftovers is also a really good choice if you like playing co-op with other people and you enjoy playing a more supportive role in the raid. Next up is Shell Bell. You can find this by going to the Delibird Present Store in Levencia and selecting battle items. Shell Bell is perfect for more offensive Pokemon. What it does is whenever you damage another Pokemon, you will recover some HP depending on the amount of damage you do. So if you like using, for instance, Pokemon with Belly Drum, but you don't have a move that can heal you, Shell Bell can fill that role perfectly. During raids, if you're doing a lot of damage, Shell Bell can easily fully heal you every turn. Do note though that because it heals you based on how much damage you do, if you're playing a more supportive role, you're not going to get healed very much every turn. The third item I want to show you is Covert Cloak. Like Shell Bell, you can also find this at the Delibird Present Store in Levencia. What Covert Cloak does is whenever you're hit with a move that has a secondary effect, like Flamethrower for instance having a chance to burn you, you won't be affected by that secondary effect. This item is great when you're using a Pokemon that can already easily recover its HP, but you're fighting a boss with moves that might put status effects on you or lower your stats. Covert Cloak will help take some of the randomness out of the raid and make your fights just more consistent overall. This video has covered a lot of different info, and I wanted to give a final comparison to really show how much proper training can affect your Pokemon. I've taken 3 Typhlosions and gotten them all to level 100 and put their stats next to one another. The Typhlosion on the left, I leveled up from a level 1 Cyndaquil, and besides using candies on it to get it to level 100, I didn't use any kind of additional training. The one in the middle is the Typhlosion with the Mightiest Mark you could have gotten from the 7-star Typhlosion raid. And the one on the right is another Typhlosion that I've leveled up to 100 from a level 1 Cyndaquil, but for this one, I used all the different methods and info that I've talked about in this video to really get the most out of them. You can see, looking at the 3 Typhlosions, that the Typhlosion on the right that was fully trained has much better HP, special attack, and defense than the Typhlosion you got from the 7-star raid. And it has significantly better stats all around than the Typhlosion that was only leveled up. I really hope that you were able to find this video helpful, and if you stuck around until the end, know that I really appreciate you spending your time to watch this video. If you did find any of this helpful or entertaining, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Any and all support is greatly appreciated. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.